Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sadashiva Shamarambam, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Ashmadacharya Paryandam, Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sakana Bhavadu, Sakano Punattu, Sakaviryam Karavavakai, Tejasvina Vadidamustuma Vatvishavake. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sarirasya Cha Vatyakena Yopa Karotham Pravaram Muninam Patanjali Pranjalim Anatosmi. If you want to recite it together with me, you can do that. So we do it twice. Atha Yoganusashanam. Atha Yoganusashanam. You can recite with me together. Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha.
Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha.
Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha.
Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha.
Tata Drashtu Swarupe Avasthanam. Tata Drashtu Swarupe Avasthanam. Vritti Sarupyam Idarattara. Vritti Sarupyam Idarattara. Vrittayaha Panchatayaha Klishtaha Klishtaha. Vrittayaha Panchatayaha Klishta Aklishtaha. Pramana Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidra Smratayaha.
Viparyaya Vikalpa
Pramana Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidra Smratayaha. Pratyaksha Anumana Agama Pramanani. Pratyaksha Anumana Agamaha Pramanani.
Pratyaksha Anumana Agamaha Pramanani.
Viparyayo Mityajnanam Atat Rupa Pratishtam. Viparyayo Mityajnanam Atat Rupa Pratishtam.
Viparyayo
Jnanam Atadarupa Pratishtam.
Sapta Jnananupati Vastu Shunyo Vikalpaha. Sapta Jnananupati Vastu Shunyo Vikalpaha.
ज्ञानानुपाति
वस्तुशून्यो
विकल्पः
अभाव प्रत्यय आलंबना वृत्ति निद्रा.
अभाव
वृत्ति निद्रा
अभाव प्रत्यय आलंबना वृत्ति निद्रा.
आलम्बना वृत्ति निद्रा
निद्रा अनुभूत विषय असंप्रमोषः स्मृतिः. अनुभूत विषय असंप्रमोषः स्मृतिः. Very good. Thank you so much. I think it's useful to remember those sutras. That's the reason why I think it's useful to recite it. So we have seen the first four that we recited are the Lakshana Sutras, which defined what is yoga, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So having understood the definition of yoga, we asked sage Patanjali, what is this vritti? Because he said yoga is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So remember, vritti is thought modification, changes to the thought. And he said, control the thought is a means to control the mind. So our goal is to control our mind. Therefore, we wanted to know what we need to control. So in the next set of sutras, what you see on the page, he gave 5 vrittis under 2 categories, klishta, aklishta. Klishta means that which gives you klesham, grief, afflicted. We already saw a thought by itself is not going to give you the trouble, but we are not differentiating ourselves from the thought. Every time when we think of something, we become one with the thought, and our gunas therefore make use of the thoughts to change our behaviors. In that sense, a klishta thought, a klishta vritti, is a vritti which is put us in a grief. We saw many examples. Example of greed, anger, jealous. All this thought leads us into trouble. Therefore, without even knowing what the vrittis are, we have learned the first lesson that if a thought can be identified as klishta, we don't want it. We want to nirodham, we want to control it, remove it, subtract it, throw it away. Or convert that into aklishta. How can you convert a bad thought to good thought? You can do that by being selfless in your approach. Then he talked about 5 vrittis: pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smriti. So he is giving you what are the 5 types of 5-fold thoughts that we need to control on. Therefore, first is pramanam. What is pramanam? Pramanam is the right knowledge. Of course, the knowledge can be in terms of consequence, klishta or aklishta, or in terms of its value, right or wrong, naturally. Therefore, a knowledge which is right is pramana. So how do we get the right knowledge? We saw in the next sutra in 1.7, pratyaksham, anumanam, agamam, or the pramanani. In Sanskrit, when you say pramanani means bahuvachanam, plural, multi-plural. So there are pratyaksham, anumanam, agamam. The three of them, they are the pramanas. So you may have doubt, if the knowledge is right, why should I control it? Don't you want right knowledge? Of course we want right knowledge. We always want right knowledge. But we need to control the right knowledge, because when you ask the question, what right knowledge you are looking for? I may get right knowledge about everything in the world. It's right knowledge. But what is it going to do for my progress? I can sit on the WhatsApp or Facebook and learn about everything in the world. And if it is something is wrong, I can go and challenge the WhatsApp application, the message forwarder, and try to recorrect this message. That's fine. But what is the use of that? So therefore, any knowledge should be, of course, right knowledge should be, it should be right knowledge, but it should be at right level. Right level for our laukika life, in the worldly life. But most importantly, if it is not useful for our spiritual progress, we need to control them. That means pramanam, that comes from pratyaksham, from your senses, anumanam, from your yukti, your inferences, and agamam, even the scriptures. That means, do I have to control also knowledge from the scripture I get? Yes. That's the reason why scriptures are given you the instruction manual of life in so voluminous text, with so many chapters, so many sagas, to raise you to the level of understanding the Vedanta. So at some stage, you don't learn about the multiplication table anymore. You pass that one. You give up. It is a very difficult task to do, even for the astikas, because the habits don't die very easily. So giving up even many of the rituals we do as we progress in a spiritual path becomes a necessity. Nirodham is necessary. Therefore, that's how you understand. Nirodham means control, delimiting, limiting. Pramanam is right knowledge. We must limit the right knowledge. As long as it focuses on the right growth, it's fine. Then we saw viparyaya. Viparyaya means, what is that? Wrong knowledge. Of course, if it's a wrong knowledge, we don't want it. Therefore, if it's wrong knowledge, the moment we know it's wrong knowledge, you see, there's a subtle difference. Nothing comes to you as a wrong knowledge. Nobody likes to get wrong knowledge. Everybody gets knowledge as right knowledge. Everything comes as a pramana. But it is proven to be a wrong knowledge, a prama, because some other pratyaksha evidence or anumana evidence prove that it is wrong. That was an elephant, I'm seeing it, and then I see it's a fire engine. So the pramana of elephant which I saw from my eyes becomes a viparyaya once I see it very close to me. So therefore, we have to remove all the wrong knowledge. How do we know it's wrong knowledge? We should go to the Apta Purushas. We should get from the learned people. That's the reason why it's very difficult to move from the wrong knowledge to right knowledge. One has to have the capacity to surrender, capacity to seek knowledge. You may be an expert in one field. You may be teaching many people. But that doesn't give you the license to be arrogant in every field, because there's always something you always learn from somebody else. Therefore, you become subservient to somebody else to learn, because that is the effect of growth. So, viparyaya is to be avoided. But can it be, if it's klishta, we avoid it. Can it be aklishta? Even I know that it is viparyaya, if it is false, can I still hold it? See, this is where I think you must use the advice to fit the purpose. Example. So my mother told me that you see that statue like an elephant sitting under the tree is Lord Ganesh. If you pray to him, God will come through the form and give you whatever you want. So I rationalized it. It's a stone. Some sculpture in somebody has made this. It looks beautiful with all this alankaram, but it's a stone. Pramanam tells me, Pratyaksha Pramanam tells me it's a stone. But it's an object. But I've imposed a divinity to that. I know that it is viparyaya, but it helps me to focus my mind. You see how viparyaya is also aklishta. We use it, knowing that it's a viparyaya. Because if we do not know it, there's a problem. This is the one of the problem that we have. God-fearing people are not able to progress because they don't understand between rational acceptance and imposing a technical superimposition on that to growth. If you believe that if a child come and ask you, convent educated, rational, didn't understand the fundamentals of Hinduism, I said, Mom, Dad, this is just a picture. That's a statue, idol worship. Why do I have to have it? Now, if you do not understand the viparyaya and the reason why we use it, you get offended because you only know it's God. You don't see it as a stone. You can't explain it. Then there is a kind of a dichotomy. We have a problem in communicating. Therefore, our children don't trust us. They think that we are old-fashioned. So we bring them back and say, yes, it is in the pramana. We can prove it to be a viparyaya. But it is the way to bring your mind into this. Take it as a divinity. So this is how we, in the Vedanta, Yoga Sutra is going to take you, to give you a control of how to manage every thought. So we saw both pramanam and viparyaya. Then we are talking at the third one, sabdajnana anupadi vastu shunyo vikalpaka. This we saw in the last class. So vikalpam is a third vritti. We have to understand very carefully. It is conceptualization. It is imagination. Now I see a Rolls-Royce car on the road and I imagine that I am owner of the car. I'm driving the car. Everybody is looking at me. I'm so proud. This is not vikalpa. Because this is a lie. This is a wrong knowledge. This is viparyaya. But it's not imagination. It's just imagination. But Patanjali says the important part is vastu shunya. In viparyaya, in pramana, knowledge is based on an object, a vishaya that's outside you. But in vikalpa, the conceptualization or imagination that is triggered by sabdajnana. Somebody's word triggers an imagination in you, but there is no holding object for this. How can you have a thought without an object? An example will help you. So there can be good klishta and aklishta. I'll give you a klishta first. So I come and say, put on the table, this is it. I put something on the table, a cup or a book I put on the table. And you get angry, short-tempered. You scold me. Why you do that? The thought I come and this is it I said, the word has triggered your mind and you are angry. Because you have some conceptualized something that I have disrespected you. Short temper. From my word, if I not talked to you, I just gone through it, probably you wouldn't have scolded me. So you imagine something, there's no object in this. It reveals ugly side of yourself. This is the kind of vikalpa. We don't want it. But we take a vikalpa in a positive way. Suppose I say, Atma. You must know, you must realize Atma. What is Atma? Or I say, don't go to that dark place, there is a ghost. You have not seen a ghost. So you imagine something. You never go there. Your behavior change, your actions change, your attitude change. Vikalpa. You have an Atma, you are looking for Atma, you are looking for Ishvara. Or even you take a rational one. I say time is a healer. I say, when you're suffering, I say, time is a healer. Then the word time triggers imagination to you. But is there an object called time? No. See, therefore you understand, vikalpa, the imagination is a necessary means to positively. Therefore all the philosophical thoughts is vikalpa. Shankara uses very often, even Ramanujan uses often. In Vedanta, everything is vikalpa, aklishta. Therefore here the Nirodham is about converting the vikalpas into aklishta vikalpa and take it forward. So it's very important. The other point in vikalpa is one way to understand. Vikalpa would create differences when there is no difference. So I'll say, for example, the famous example this is the Atma Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam means the awareness, omniscience. So Atma Chaitanyam. Suppose you therefore think, okay, there is an Atma and it has got Chaitanyam. It's like, this is, say, Ramesh's car or Balaji's book. So, Atma's Chaitanya. It's possible. You can think that way. And many such dualistic philosophies are on this vikalpa. God's grace. No, grace is God. So you find differences when there is no difference. That's a vikalpa. Therefore, you hold on to that vikalpa, you meditate, perform dhyanam, so that the vikalpa goes away and truth reveals. So that vikalpa is not to be eliminated, but contemplated upon. There is another way also think. Vikalpa also finds non-differences in differences. So first it finds differences in non-differences. You can also do the other way. What is an example? So you ask me, how are you doing? I said, I am totally devastated. I am bad. I am sad. I am suffering. So then you ask me why. Then I tell you, my knee is hurting. Or my hair is going gray. Or my mind has got some fear. So first I say, I am bad, I am grieving. But when you ask me second time, I say, my belonging has got a problem. We saw in Vedanta, I am different from mine. My objects are not me. But vikalpam, this is a very big vikalpam due to avidya, that we do not differentiate between I and my. This is where many of the samsara problems comes, because we do not know who we are. Sometimes we miss between my belongings and myself. This is a vikalpam. So therefore vikalpam is a very intrinsic, natural vritti. We have to remove those which is klishta, like anger, unnecessary anger, as example I gave you. But aklishta vrittis, we should take it and bring into contemplation. So up to this we saw in the last class. Next one, abhava pratyaya, alambana vritti, nidra, abhava. So here you're talking about sleep. Nidra is sleep. So we normally think sleep is where we don't think. So vritti is about thoughts and thoughts dynamics. So how can you have nidra as part of the vritti? I mean, this is where the superior knowledge of Patanjali comes in, even addressing many of these problems today in psychology, in medicine, in the sleep research. Even among the scholars of the Vedanta in Sanatana Dharma, there was a lot of debate on this. Maybe that's the reason why in this sutra he put this word vritti. See, if you look at the previous one, he did not do sabda jnana rupadi vastu sunyo vikalpaha. So he did not say about what it is, it's vritti. The word vritti is not there. Only in this nidra he had the word vritti. Therefore, even I think Patanjali was thinking maybe many people don't accept it, therefore I should reinforce the point. So what is he saying? He's saying sleep is a thought. How is it possible? I'm not a domain expert, but I do understand some of those research that going through. Now, sleep is a very essential nature. It's a very important point. If you don't sleep for a few days, you may die. Now you may become insane. Because science has proven, science has done a phenomenal job for us to understand how things happen. Not why things happen, but how things happen. To get the complete knowledge of why things happen, we need spiritual science, metaphysical science. So, in the kind of in the back of your head, there's a hypothalamus is there somewhere in the middle of the cranium. It's like a peanut-like size part of the cluster. So in that, there's something called a suprachiasmatic nucleus. Something which is control the biorhythm. And also the back of the brain stem, they take all the visual senses, lights and everything, and then it computes certain algorithm and it computes, okay, this is the time to rest. Then it sends a message to biochemical signal message to a gland called pineal gland. So if you take your what's called the forehead, if you drill a hole from here, and then you drill a hole from the top of your head, and then when they join together, that point, it's a small gland called pineal gland. In yoga, it's called Sakasudra chakra. So that is the point which manages your biorhythm. That's what wakes you up. That's what gives you a body clock. So when this signal comes through, then the pineal gland say, okay, it's time to sleep. It creates a hormone called melatonin. So it goes and controls, and the signal goes through, things shut down, and then you go through the sleep. They call it many stages of sleep. There's a deep sleep is called slow wave sleep, SWS. In contrast to REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. So when somebody is sleeping, if you look at them, you can see their eyeballs just moving left and right. Sometimes very fast moving, and then sometimes they don't move. And science has proven that it happens in average person every 90 minutes. So the body takes all these things happen. Science tells you how it happens, not why. Then body goes to rest, you sleep, and then you have some deep sleep, SWS, or the slow wave sleep, in different stages. Then you have the REM sleep, you have dreams, and then you get up. Nobody knows why sleep is necessary. I mean, they have been finding out that almost every life living being, Jivarasi, needs sleep. Of course, there are some research shows certain ants, for example, don't need to sleep, or because they are able to even shrink their brain. An Indian ant called jumping ant, it can actually shrink the brain so that the activities can be less but still active. So it's a wonder. So sleep is a very important point. But generally, we think sleep, there is no thought. But the purist will say, no, there is a thought. You are not conscious, but you are subconscious. In science, we use the word unconscious, subconscious, supraconscious, conscious. It's very confusing. Subconscious means it is you have still some bodily function happening without the external instruments acting it. Unconscious, where you have nothing, body may be working, but you are not responding to the external stimuli. So how does Patanjali sees it? He turns the problem around. So we are saying because nothing happens, there is nothing. Now look at the word sentence. There is nothing. What is E stands for? E stands for isness, sat, existence. So when there is nothing, nothing exists. Do you understand? It's not a word play, just hold on with me. So therefore Patanjali takes that one. Don't say nothing exists, but there is nothing. There is, within quotes, nothing. Therefore, again example, maybe it help. So suppose there is a security guard in your office door. You appointed a security guard, and his job is to monitor who comes every night uninvited. So he's a very sincere guy. He's watching it. So morning you go to office and you ask the guy. He says, "Sir, from 10 o'clock last night until 6 o'clock this morning, nobody came." Right? How does he say that? He said that because he was watching all the time, nobody came, but therefore he was watching the absence of people. It sounds silly, right? I cannot say this. If I am sleeping at home, 6 o'clock I come to office and I tell, nobody came between 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the night. Can I say that? Because I did not witness the absence. You're talking about the truth speaking, right? Security guard speaks the truth, I speak the truth. But I cannot therefore say because I did not witness the absence. Therefore, witnessing the absence, it's like in mathematics, sometimes to solve the problem, you put an unknown x, let x be this, right? That's a very important start. So Patanjali therefore giving you the absence, consider absence as an existence, because it does exist. And he's going to substantiate that. So pratyaya is cognition or a thought. Therefore, abhava pratyaya means cognition of absence. The security guard looking at the absence of the person. Alambana means having a basis on it. If, like I told you, the turmeric Ganesh you put on the puja is alambana of the god on this turmeric. Superimposition. Having the basis. Therefore, the absence is recognized, and based on that absence recognition, a vritti comes in. The vritti is called nidra. So, how do I understand this one? We are going to discuss this in a great detail in Vedanta later. But for this purpose, let's look at it another way. So we take sleep as an absence of awareness, is it not? If there is no awareness, it's sleep. Because you are not aware, you're not aware of your man or woman. Even if you have God forbid, a bad disease, when you are sleeping, you are not aware. Nobody suffers in sleeping. Sleeping is a beautiful bliss because when you are sleeping, only a part of your mind is in abundance, not your complete mind. Your body works, your lungs are breathing, your hearts are purifying. In fact, every cell is replaced. That's why sleep is very important. If you don't sleep very well, you don't get health because all the cells are replaced. Brain is cleared. The dreams, the rapid eye movement is clearing up your brain. Sometimes the dreams come. Again, the dream we think, we only take the moving objects as a dream, unless like a cinema, but there are also pictures like. Sometimes no pictures, uh, sound comes in, thought comes in, but we don't catch as a dream. So a lot of things going on in the brain. Therefore, simply saying absence of awareness is sleep is impartial. It's not correct. How do we know there's an absence of awareness? How do you know that I don't know something? You will know only when I am able to communicate about it. So if I don't communicate to you, you do not know that I know it or not. Therefore, in sleep, when I am sleeping, you are not able to come into me and say, are you sleeping? If you asked me, I would have probably said, yes, I am sleeping. You couldn't enter into the space. I couldn't therefore give you an answer. Therefore, there is a communication. There is an absence of revelation, absence of communication, absence of expression. But we cannot say there's an absence of awareness. Please stay with me because this is subtle. So therefore, what is awareness? Awareness is not the mind's faculty. Why? Go back to Vedanta. Mind is the inert, insentient. But then who is being aware of all my thoughts? It is mind. Yes. Remember we discussed mind, we compartmentalize into 4 parts. Manas, Chittam, Ahankaram and Buddhi. Manas is the stage in which all the vrittis come and go. It's like if you watch a movie, it's a white screen. Mind, Manas. Chittam is the depository of the thoughts, logbook, what comes, what goes. What the Ahankaram does, I am this thought, I am seeing, I am looking. But all these 3 are not doing anything without the power of Buddhi. What is a Buddhi does? Buddhi is the one that sees. But you may ask the question, how can Buddhi see? Buddhi is part of mind. Mind is insentient. Then you remember we studied Tattvabodha. Buddhi is closest to the Atma. The light of Atma shines on the Buddhi. Therefore, Buddhi gets illumined like a mirror illumined by the sun, which lights up the house. When the Buddhi is illumined, immediately Ahankara gets up. Ahankara thinks, I am the illuminator. Therefore, I see it. Then Chitta, Manas, everything, dance happens. But Buddhi is sincere. Buddhi's role is to take the light, see the world, get the vritti, and show the vritti to Atma. So Buddhi is the one who shows everything to the Atma. Now, what Patanjali is saying in this, in Nidra, the Manas, the canvas where vrittis come and dance, and the Ahankara, that I see it, both abides. both are losing the potency of it. Chittam is there, it is writing whatever happens. Buddhi is there, it is seeing what is happening in the mind. What is abidance means here? Abidance means it is just not functioning. Why is that? It's because to function it, you need rajas. To know, you need tamas. But nobody can say why the tamoguna get the lordship. Tamoguna gets up and say, enough boys, girls, go to bed. This is my time. It takes a black screen and put on this mind. Therefore, the vritti is tamasic vritti, complete darkness. The complete darkness, nothing can be known. Therefore, the buddhi is still seeing. It is not able to see any vritti vishaya. But what it is seeing? It is seeing a dark screen. Ahankara cannot say, I am seeing dark screen. Why Ahankara? It becomes powerless. That's why we do not know what is happening. Therefore, we are not able to represent that I am sleeping. That's why if somebody says, if your child says, Mummy, don't wake me up, I am sleeping, we laugh at it because you cannot say that you are sleeping. Because we think our sleep is ordinary sleep. But if it's a yogic sleep, the Ahankara does not abide, but becomes pure and is able to see it. We are not there yet. So therefore, what's happening to the buddhi? Buddhi is saying darkness. Therefore, it is awareness of absence. So it's not absence of awareness. If you turn the word around, it's awareness of absence. There is awareness of absence in the mind, but there is no way to communicate. How do you know? How do you prove it? So when you take a drishtantam, this is how the drishtantam comes into the picture in the Advaita Vedanta especially. So you cannot say that I slept well next day morning when you get up. I slept well. You don't say that because you look around and say, there's a bed, there's a pillow, there's a clock. So therefore, I look like I must have born into this on top of it yesterday. I'm here now, therefore I deduce I must have been lying down on this bed. No, you don't think all this because you know that you slept. There is no need of analysis. You cannot say this that you slept unless you have an experience of it. I cannot say nobody came between 6 and 10 o'clock, 10 and 6 o'clock in the night in my office without seeing the absence of it. So therefore the Chittam has a logbook entry from this time to this time, something like that. I'm giving an example. There is awareness of absence. Tamasic vritti was there. So it's very important. Therefore, in the Vedanta, we take it very deeply. I mean, when we go back to Vedanta, sleep has to be discussed in a great detail. Mandukya Upanishad, Shankara Dakshinamurti Stotram. All this thing gives you a great insight into. So there we think about the prajna, which is inside beyond the antakarana. Buddha's sitting posture, Shiva's sitting posture, Lord Narayana's slumber on the bed. They're not sleeping. They are in the prajna and the prajna. They are looking at the vikalpams of everything else. So therefore, nidra, what is the nirodham here? Therefore, what are we controlling here? Of course, we control the sleep. You have to control the sleep. If you keep on sleeping all the time, tamasic will rule. If you don't sleep also, you got a problem. but you have to control it. Gudakesha. Arjuna is called Gudakesha. In the chapter 1, Eva Mukto Krishikesha, Gudakesha. Gudakesha Partha. Sanjaya tells to Dhritarashtra, the Gudakesha is Arjuna, he is now speaking to Rishikesha. The Rishikeshi, it means one who controls his senses. Lord Krishna, Paramatma, is controlling the senses. To him, Arjuna, he is giving adage, Gudakesha, one who controls the sleep. What does it mean? One who controls the tamasic vritti. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhuta Yastida Ahamadi Ascha Madhyamcha Bhuta Namanta Evacha. Bhagavan says, Bhagavan also repeat the thing to Arjuna. Gudakesha, oh Arjuna, oh the one who won the sleep. I am the one in every Sarvabhutani, in all the world, all the living being, all the beings. I am in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So, the point that we need to take, therefore, is good sleep, controlling the sleep, is an important part to make our body and mind in pristine condition. So, this is about what Patanjali is giving here. So, the meaning, therefore, is sleep is the vritti resorting the cognition principle of absence. So, be very bold to say, I am aware of the sleep, but I am not able to express it because my faculties are sleeping. So there's an awareness that's going on. So next one, Anubhuta Vishaya Asampramoshaka Smritihi. So last one, Smritihi. We call Bhagavad Gita as Smriti, Manusmriti, Yajñasmriti, Yajñavalkya Smriti. Smriti means that which comes out of the memory. There it has got a very pious meaning, reverential meaning, because the memory there is coming from the Vedas. So anything that brings out the truth of Veda to a memory is called Smriti. But here we talk about our faculty, our capacity to recall. So that's a vritti. So suddenly I think, yeah, I remembered that one. So how does the thought comes to me? Comes to me because it has been somewhere stored in my neural repository. It is somewhere there. So Patanjali is therefore saying we have to control smriti as well. So what is the meaning? Anubhuta. Okay, in Vedanta we saw very deep meaning for anubhuti compared to anubhav. But here we just take it as a simple literal meaning. Anubhuta means experienced. Anubhuta Vishaya. Vishaya is object of experience. Anubhuta Vishaya. So object of experience, experienced. Asampramoshaka. In the Sanskrit dhatu, the root word, mush means to lose, to be robbed, stolen. Sampramosha means that's completely stolen, completely lost. So asampramosha means not being lost. It's a very precise definition he is giving here, because see, when you, so suppose you are walking to the Siddhashram for the class, you are walking there and your mind is thinking about what I'm going to learn in the class. And so as soon as you come to the class, your teacher asks you, welcome to the class, can you tell me what all you saw? Well, I didn't see anything. I was just thinking about the class. But what about the cars that was going against you, the people that crossed the road, the signal lights that was there, the tree on the road? Did you not see it? Well, probably I've seen it, but I don't remember it. What happened to those things? They're gone. Asampramoshaka. Sampramoshaka. They're all lost. But on the way, when you're coming, You saw your old friend, you waved at him and smiled, and you thought about him for a while. Now you'll say, yes, I saw my old friend. Why? It is not as a promotion. It's not being lost. So this is actually a blessing in disguise. People sometimes think, I as I'm getting older, I'm forgetting things. Well, this may be a problem, but there may be a reason for it. Unless it is really troubling you, it is limiting your capacity to live, then it becomes a disease, then we sort it out. I had a bath this morning. I remember this. Imagine if I don't remember it. I go back to have another bath. I keep on eating. So it is important to remember certain things for some time. I can't tell you what I ate yesterday morning. I don't know. Because I think the beauty of our neural system, the way that God has created the body and mind, is that it retains the knowledge to the level that needs to be retained, and then it throws away. So that is given. So you can cultivate, you can sharpen it up to better utilize it. I think we should. But you don't question that, why I forget things, why I'm not remembering those things. I remember, a close relative of mine had amnesia, and she wouldn't know that. She wants to go to the bathroom every time, and to have shower again and again and again. Why? Because she has not, when the pratyaksha pramanam is happening, when the prama is happening, when the experience is happening, that person has not really registered that they are going through the experience. Let me put it this way: unless the mind knows that it knows, unless the mind knows that it knows, the thought cannot become a memory. You understand? So you walk to Siddhashram class, you saw the fellow, a friend of yours, then you say, I know this person. You know that person, it will become a memory. You don't look at the signal and say, I know the signal. But if you do think that, it will become memory. Otherwise, if everything goes to the memory, you'll be overloaded. You will get, blood vessels will just explode. And so it is a kind of a blessing in disguise. It tells you what to remember, what not to remember. But we should cultivate. That's why it is called Nirodham. So if the capacity is given, you sharpen it. So I go to this class, the teacher taught me Bhagavad Gita, 1 hour of good experience. I come back because my mind is on something else. Some promotion is lost. But when I learn that one, it's very difficult to learn everything else. I see this one particular mantra, sloga, he said, so dharmam chara. So dharmam, satyam vata, dharmam chara. Satyam vata. Interesting word. Asampramochara. You keep it there. It changes your behavior. Then this is how Patanjali is taking you. You are able to pick and choose things that you can keep in your memory. You can bring them back. If you're able to do that, you see the why I need to bring it back. See, remembrance comes to you like every thought. Remembrance comes to you. You see a person, you don't know the name of the person. You think I know this person. I don't know the name. And you talk to him, hello, without worried about not exposing your ignorance. You delicate situation. He's gone. You crack your brain. What's his name? Then after 3 hours, it just pops up in your mind. See, you can't even recall. It's not in your control. Because we have not given. See, first law is what? The mind should say, I know this, therefore it becomes a memory. If you attach an intensity of purpose, I must know it. There is a simple, just for interest and thank you. So there is this guy, this Siddha Purusha is there, and he's revered, and he's kind of does illusion, magic, and for good cause. But one agnostic fellow found that irritating. He went to him, look, people say that you are a miraculous man. So can you cure my problem? I have this wound in my hand, doesn't heal, and can you cure it? Probably would have cured him, but he knows that this guy is a troublemaker. Then he says, okay, so take a bucket of water from this, a bottle of water from this pool. Okay, he takes the water. That's it, that's your medicine. Go and drink it 3 times, you'll be cured. 3 times, that's it? Yes. This water, yes. He's about to go, then the guru says, wait a minute. There's one condition though. When you drink this one, every time you drink, never ever think of monkey. Remember? Never ever think of a monkey. Okay, strange condition. Never ever think of the monkey. Okay, he takes the bottle, goes home. On the way, he think about, never ever think of a monkey. Why should I think of a monkey? I will not think of a monkey. I will drink it. I prove this guy bad. Every day passes. Every time he takes a bottle, who comes in? Monkey comes in. He could never drink it. I'm just saying in a light-hearted way, but the reason why the monkey comes in, because he put an attachment to it, that thought, the intensity of purpose. See, everything is subtle and sensible, sensitive. Very important, because that's the reason why we need to be very careful how we say things to people. Hitam vada, priyam vada, satyam vada. Even a truth, if it is not going to be sitting comfortably to the listener's ears and heart, don't even tell the truth. Doesn't matter. Because it has to be not hurting anybody. Because small word will create a scar. The scar becomes a deep samskara. The deep samskara becomes a behavior change perpetually. So it's very important, therefore, smriti is the important prathi. So he therefore completes. So as I told you, it's called, Vyasa is a beautiful word, Anu Vyavasaya. Vyavasaya means knowing what you know. I know this. Memory of memory. That's called remembrance. Now, if you are very logical, you would think, if every thought is written as a logbook, the chittam, and if I say, I know this person, it's also a thought, it's also written. And people who was doing object-oriented programming will appreciate it, because it is how even the computer programming work is done. Computer memory is organized. Hypertexting, connecting to each other. The neural networks work like this. It does not, if I remember Balamama's face, I don't remember this face as a picture. The picture, his face is decomposed into small impulses, and the impulses are a chemical signal stored somewhere in the brain, and then brought them back together. But if I think of a recognition, so if I see a ship and I say, oh, this ship I know, that's not memory, that's recognition. It's a subtle difference. I tell this because in Vedanta we will use the word pratyabhijna. That's very different from the memory. That's not memory. Recognition is not memory. Recognition is taking a memory and comparing it against a practical pramanam and coming with a knowledge. I know this ship is, ship you see, you have memory, you combine it together and create a new knowledge. That's pratyabhijna. So, okay, don't worry about it if you don't understand that one. But so, therefore, memory is the smriti. So, we conclude now. There are 5-fold vrittis. The first 4 sutras is the Lakshana Sutras. Control mind is yoga. The next 7 is the vrittis. We learned 5 vrittis: pramana, right knowledge. You must remember this all the time because we are not going to go back to this. Remember it. Pramana, right knowledge. Viparya, wrong knowledge. Vikalpa, imagination without substance. Underline the word without substance. Nidra is sleep. Smriti is memory. The pramana, viparya, vikalpa happens during the wakeful state. Of course, the dream also in a way viparya. So we can say the experience of all these 3 states come around as if it's a direct experience in the dream. It's also a viparya. So you can say viparya happens in the dream also. Samsaya also viparya. So suppose whether is it Rama, is Krishna, or is it blue or black? This kind of thought comes to mind. Suspicion. That's also viparya. Because there's no use in it. Nidra, you know what it is. Vikalpa, you know what it is. Nidra is what we discussed just now. It is the absence of all the vrittis, but seeing the absence. And the smriti is memory. So we need to know these 5 different type of thoughts. We need to employ our techniques to control them. What is the control? We remove all the klishta thoughts. If it is going to give trouble, not only to me, to trouble to anybody, we take it away. Then we control them so that it can help us to do a spiritual progress. So all these vrittis give you pleasure, pain, and stupefaction. Why it's a pleasure? Because it is giving you a good feeling. Therefore, you can say the pleasure comes from sattvic dominance. Pain comes from the actions of rajasic activities. Stupefaction or slumber or laziness, inertia comes from the tamasic activity. So therefore, our life is derived by these thoughts we handle. So we bring it, the yoga, to become aklishta, non-klesha. So we now finish 2 sections. Lakshana Sutra of the first 4, and then object of contemplation, object of control, vritti is second part. The next one therefore is, how do we control? How? So this is what we are going to see in the next one, and thereafter it is about implementing certain behavior changes in ourselves. They are very important. So we come to the conclusion now. We can say the Shanti Pada and then we close it. Om Ashato Ma Shatgamaya
Om Asato Ma Satgamaya
Tamasho Ma Jyotirgamaya
Tamaso ma
Satgamaya
Mrityo Ma Amritam Gamaya
Mrityo ma amritam gamaya.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti